Hey everybody, it's Judy Clock, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia, coming to you today for another tutorial. Now this weekend was my July workshop and we used the beautiful Scenic Coast DSP. And I had so many scraps left over that I didn't want to go to waste that I came up with 3 cards using those scraps. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you how to make these 3 cards using just scraps. Let me switch out my videos. There we go. So there's my little pile of DSP scraps. Now for the first one, we're going to take a piece of our basic white. You can use really any color of cardstock. This is 3 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to go ahead and add some multi-purpose liquid glue on here. I'm just going to kind of put it all over. Make sure you get it in the corners because you want to make sure that we have good adhesion. And then I'm just going to take some of these scraps. Now you can use whichever side you want. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to make sure I get right up over that corner. I'm going to come in with another one. And you're going to see I'm using all shapes. Some are wide, some are thin. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to make sure that I cover this whole strip of paper. Like here's a really thin one. Okay. But you just want to put these on there until you decide you like what you have on there. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. I can't pick this up. I think I'm going to use that one. Some of that iridescent look. Okay. Tend to get a little messy, a little sticky with the glue on there. All right. And one last one. Let's go. I guess we'll go with a little piece of yellow. Okay. Now, once you have all your strips on there, let's go ahead. We're going to trim off the excess edges. So we're just going to do this so quickly. Okay. All right. Getting stuck to my scissors. And you could still do something with even these little scraps. So we'll figure out something to do with those. Okay, so then I took this piece and I ran it through an embossing folder and I ended up with a card that looks like this. I did the Swirls of Magic embossing folder. I added 2 punched circles and a little sentiment, and that was how I used those scraps. But how great is that, right? Great for a masculine card, maybe. Little inside happy birthday. That was card number 1. Then I had a whole bunch that were 1 inch wide. So I cut them down into 1 inch by 1 inch squares, and I just arranged them on a piece of basic white. Now you can do this however you want. I'm just going to cut up these down and see what we get. Maybe that piece. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of lay these on here. Oh, I just lost one. There it goes. Maybe. I think it fell down somewhere. There it is. It ended up on the floor. All right, so I'm going to lay these down before I glue them down to make sure I kind of like where I have them and how I like, how I have the colors arranged. And I don't know, let's see, that's kind of dark. What's on the other side? Oh, that's still kind of dark, but maybe not as dark. All right, so I kind of like what I have. I kind of like that. All right, so I'm going to start. You can use liquid glue. You can use whatever you want. Excuse me. And I'm just going to glue my squares here. I'll make sure I get those corners. Okay, come on. Let's get this done. All right. Okay. And everything is getting all sticky now. So I had like 8 1-inch by 1-inch squares that I am now working on gluing down. I'm just kind of using the one like above and next to it to sort of judge where I want to glue my next square. Okay. I think I had a yellow one up there. Oh my goodness. It's getting close to feeding time here. So I'm getting a little antsy up there. So I got to finish up so I can go up and help with dinner time for the puppies. They're really not puppies. The oldest is 12 and the youngest is 5. But they'll always be my puppies. Okay, so we're just going to glue these down. There's no rhyme or reason. And if you wanted to make them a little bigger, like 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, you could certainly do that. Like I said, these were already 1 inch wide, so I just went with the 1-inch squares. All right, then after you have all of those down, you can put these on a card front. I stamped a sentiment on the top and bottom in that white space. Then I took a blending brush with some crushed curry, and I just went over it a little bit to add a little pop of color. And that is another way to use those beautiful squares of the Scenic Coast DSP. And then lastly, I took another piece of basic white. I was all about the basic white. And then I just went and I kind of laid the colors that I wanted down first, and they're going to be all different lengths. They're all about 1/2 inch wide. So that should hopefully help you maybe. And I'm just going to I had a little bit of cardstock left over, so I threw some cardstock in there. And I think I want to put a yellow one there. Excuse me. Okay, and then I don't know, maybe another purple one. Okay, let's go with maybe more yellow. And we'll end up with, I don't know, what are we going to end up with? How about one of those? So then after I sort of had the pattern that I liked, again, I just went ahead and I started gluing these down. And I just really just staggered the lengths. I wasn't measuring. I just kind of did whatever I felt like doing, what I thought was going to look good. Okay. And I'm just going to keep putting these on. Okay. And we're just going to keep gluing these down. And again, just make them all different lengths. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just this up a little more. Okay. Got this pretty one. Okay. And lastly, oh, that's a little crooked. We're going to put on one more piece of yellow. And we're going to call this maybe one little tiny piece. I thought I had a really, really skinny piece. There we go. Look at that. How is that little skinny piece? And let's do the purple side. We're going to put that little skinny piece. I'm going to move that up just a bit and put that little skinny piece right there. It's barely on that paper. All right. Excuse me, same thing. We are going to trim apart, well, cut off all these pieces that extend beyond our cardstock. Okay. I have to clean my scissors later. And then we had that little piece at the end. I'm just going to trim that. Okay, now what I did was I took this and I ran just the top half through an embossing folder. So I don't know, this is like a wave one, it's discontinued, but I ran it through that embossing folder. And then I wanted to use a sentiment, but the sentiment was longer than my punch. So let me show you how you can measure it. So this punch is about about an inch and a half wide, about an inch and a half wide. So I took a piece of our basic white. It's about 4 inches this way, and I'm going to cut it down to like just a hair under 1.5. So I think it's like 7 or 7/16. Okay, so it's what? So this is like 1 7/16 of an inch. All right, I'm gonna feed it through my punch, and I'm going to make sure it goes up over the top. I'm going to make sure that the edge of the cardstock is kind of even with the edge of the punch, and I'm going to punch it. Okay. Now I'm going to flip it. I'm going to feed the punched end through and bring it over the top. This requires a little bit of finesse. There we go. Same thing. I'm going to bring the edge kind of even with the edge of my punch, and I'm going to punch. Now I've got a piece that is long enough for my sentiment. So I just took our regular rounded rectangle punch. I cut this just the teeniest bit shorter than the width, okay, like 1/16 of an inch shorter than the width of the punch. And I fed it in. I put one end over the punch, right? Punched it, flipped it around, put the punched end in, push the punched end over the edge so it wasn't going to be punched, and we punched the other edge, and now we've got a longer rounded rectangle punch. All right, so that is it for tonight. Short and sweet. I was really busy this week preparing for my Christmas in July series that kicked off last night. We had a great time. We made 4 little gift tags with a little pocket holder. I think everybody liked the project. So I had to do something quick and easy, and I had all of those beautiful Scenic Coast scraps staring at me. So I thought, let me use those to design 3 quick cards. So that's it. I'll be back next week with another Thursday tutorial. I'll see you then, everybody. Bye.